Hey Adventures, today is going to be a wrap-up for the month of March, as well as a little bit of the book haul basically the books that we got in March. That will be at the end of the video though. So we'll get right into our wrap-up. You want to go first?
Yeah, the first book I have is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I accidentally read this. I was trying to read the War of Art and I got really confused digitally, but it was really interesting and I think I would reference it if I was writing another fantasy, because it reminded me of my fantasy I was writing where there was a specific war. I think I would read that more.
First book I finished in March is Gurzil by I Anonymous. This is a self-published book and I was sent an ARC. I've got a review for it that I'll link up there. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I had a couple issues with it. Part of that may have been part of that may have been due to it being an ARC and wasn't complete. The editing and everything of it wasn't completed yet. So I had a few issues, but overall I really enjoyed it and I'm looking forward to the next book.
So the next book I have here is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. I read both of these. I got them on audiobook, so I read them pretty quick. These are by Lewis Carroll, and I have read them before. I thought that I had read Through the Looking Glass, but not Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And I think it was the opposite of that, or I've read them both at some point. I can't remember. Anyhow, I really enjoyed, I can't remember which one I liked better because they're not being distinguished well in my mind. I think I liked Alice's Adventures in Wonderland better.
Then I finished Eclectic Nightmares by Jeremy Fee. This is a poetry collection by Jeremy Fee, who is an author and a booktuber. I've interacted quite a bit with him and I really enjoy talking to him, but I also really enjoyed his poetry collection. I do have a review for that linked up in the corner as well. March was kind of a support smaller authors month in terms of the reviews that I did, so they're either smaller authors or friends or something like that, or self-published authors. That was kind of the goal for the month of March with my reviews, was to support some smaller authors. Anyways, so I really enjoyed Eclectic Nightmares and the poetry. Most of the poems in there's a couple that didn't work for me, but for the most part I really enjoyed all of them.
So the next book I read was A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. I have some mixed feelings about this. Overall, I enjoyed the feel of the book. The actual content of the book, I think I have different opinions than the author was trying to portray in there, but it was really cool seeing how I liked what the author did. I liked how they showed the point of the story, which was about this man called Ove. I liked it. I just, because of my moral basis, I have different understanding from Ove, or about Ove, than I think the author intended. So that's kind of confusing, but that's where I'm at with it.
The next one I finished is The Winter King by Christine Cohen. I listened to this on audiobook. I don't have a physical copy. I don't have a review for this up yet. I probably will do one. There was a lot of things about it that I really liked. Story-wise, the tropes that were used. What I didn't love so much was the writing style. It was very much a YA Christian writing style, which you'll find with most of the YA books that are written by Christian authors. And I don't have an issue with that. It just doesn't, it's not my favorite writing style. So that was really the biggest issue that I had with it, but I'll have more thoughts on this when I actually get a review up.
Okay, so the next book I read is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. This particular edition has other tales, which I didn't read. I just read The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which was a super short little book, and I liked it. I thought it was really fun. I didn't know what to expect of it. I've heard of it. I've read, various other stories regarding it. I think A to Z Mysteries have had one.
Probably.
Inspired by The Legend of Sleepy Hollow or that. So I kind of knew a little bit about it, but I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought it was great fun. So.
The Lord of the Rings. So I finished my reread of The Lord of the Rings this in March. So I basically read one part in January, one part in February, and one part in March. And then I finished the book in March.
Good job.
Yes, it's kind of struggling through that there. There's still a little bit more that I'm reading. Basically, I finished the story, and so I counted it as completed. I'm reading the appendices through for research, basically. So I'm not completely done with everything in the book, but I basically am, so I'm counting it. And anything that I really don't need to say anything about this. You guys all know my thoughts on this book.
So the next book I read was Serafina by Rachel Hartman. I remember enjoying parts of it, but overall, it wasn't what I was hoping it would be. I don't think I really am interested in continuing with the series at this time unless I hear something that draws me in about the rest of the books. I think there's 2 more, but I mean, there was interesting parts. It was very YA, and there was something, man, I really should record my thoughts on books after I read them, because I remember telling it to Tony but I don't know what I told him. So I did have specific thoughts after I finished the book. They've just dissipated since.
The next one that I finished was A Merchant in Oria by David Wiley. This is a short novella, probably would be considered a novelette or something like that, but it says a novella on it, so that's what I'm calling it. David Wiley, of course, is a booktuber and an author and everything, and friend of the channel, and I really enjoy my interactions with him as well. But I read this book. He sent it to us a while back, and I never took the time to get to it, which is dumb because the story is only like 40 pages, 45 pages long, something, 43 pages long. So it's super short, and I basically sat down and read it in one day once I actually started it. And it was really enjoyable, and I do have a review for this one up there too, so I'll link that as well. But it was a fun book, and I'm interested to see if he ever decides to do more in this world or more with anything like that, because I found it very enjoyable.
My next book is The Story Raider by Lindsay Franklin. I read The Story Peddler ages ago, it feels like. Right before we started our channel, it was one of the first books we reviewed, and then we didn't like our review, so we ended up taking it down. But it's been a while since I read the first book, and I didn't love the first book. There was things about it that really frustrated me, so I've been putting off The Story Raider. I finally read it, and I really liked it. The main character, Tanwin, she really annoys me. She just comes across as aggravating and childish. But aside from that, I did enjoy the book, and I don't know, there were some really neat things in here. What I'm loving about Christian fiction and fantasy, a lot of the speculative fiction that we're seeing is from Enclave especially, is when it can be simple and it can be not explicit, which is so nice, but still include very serious topics. And so I really appreciated that about The Story Raider, and I'm kind of looking forward to reading the next book, which I don't know the title of off the top of my head, but I'm looking forward to seeing how the characters' stories ties up. So the next book I finished was Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I did have to get the audiobook through this because I was not making progress in the hard copy, and overall there were some things about it that I really liked. The romance trope was very predictable just based on like Jane Austen and the other Bronte sister books I've read, and it's definitely not one of my favorite, but it was really interesting, and I felt very sympathetic towards the character because she was relatable in a lot of ways, but she also just had a lot of disappointments in her life, which seemed, I don't know, I guess she's just the standard main character at this point, but she went through a lot of struggles, and I related to certain aspects of her life, which was really cool in a book that's, written set in the 1730s, I think. This edition copyright 2017. But yeah, I looked it up and it was set in the 1730s, I believe, so I liked it. It was cool. I'm glad I read it.
And the last book that I read or finished in March was Talendor's Guest by Charles McGarry. This is, of course, I've got a review for this one up as well. And this is written by a booktuber named Bookish Chaz, and it's really a short story collection with the setup very similar to 1001 Nights or Arabian Nights or whatever it is, the Tales of Scheherazade, where Scheherazade has to tell a new story every night in order to stay alive. That's basically a very similar premise to this book, and it worked really well, and it was like that aspect really intrigued me instantly. And then getting into the stories, I really enjoyed the short stories that were inside this book as well. They were very interesting, very creative and imaginative, and I really enjoyed that. So if and when Charles McGarry writes more, I'll definitely be reading it because I really enjoyed this book.
So the last book I read in March was Geekerella by Ashley Poston. Oh, when they put font on titles, it's really difficult. It's not gonna tell me, is it?
Try the back.
I did. It's
inside of the back, the author. Doesn't that say?
I think it's Poston, guys. Anyhow, she wouldn't reference him by a last name. It's Poston.
Yeah, Poston.
Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I wanted to read it because it looked intriguing. I liked the premise, or from what I had understood about the premise, and it's a fairy tale retelling. And I keep saying I really like fairy tale retellings, and I read this through, I'm like, I don't know if I've ever actually read one. So I liked that aspect of it, and I really liked the relationship between the main character and the love interest, because it's a romance novel, it's Cinderella. I liked their communication. It was very modern. It was through text, which resonates, seeing as all my friends are through text. In that sense, as it's a very modern story that couldn't be told in this particular way 50 years ago. So I thought that was really cool. There was, overall, I thought that the subplots didn't add to the story, a couple of them, which was kind of annoying, but other than that, I liked the book. I liked the fairy tale retelling aspect of it the most.
So that is the wrap up for the month of March. We will now pause for just a second and run and grab all the books that we got for during the month of March, and then we will be right back. And we are back. So
the wrap up of, it's a wrap up, but it's also a book haul, including what we got in the month of March, which included both of our birthdays, so there's more books here than you'd probably see, aside from us like going to a thrift bookstore.
correct.
So,
One other thing though, well, not one other thing. We'll start with these ones though as a quick reminder. We are doing a giveaway for an illustrated edition of The Hobbit and an illustrated edition of Little Women. You'll have to go, we'll have, I think we got one more link left. So I'll have a video linked up here that you have to go to and watch till the end of the video, or skip to the end of the video where we tell you how to enter.
Yeah, to find out how to enter for this giveaway.
Yes.
Which will only be open until we hit 250 subscribers, so.
Yes.
Okay,
So-
jumping right in.
Yes.
I got the Little House on the Prairie series, book 1 through the first 4 years. So the Little House on the Prairie through the first 4 years, which I'm really excited about. I'd actually started rereading it, but the editions I have are my sister's, which apparently they were my mom's growing up, and they're beat up, let me tell you. The Little House on the Prairie is like taped with scotch tape all over the back. You can hardly like open it properly. Well, you do, it just kind of falls apart. So I'm really glad I got these. Now I can read them without destroying them.
I will start with my trip down to Oregon because that was before my birthday. And so the books that I got there, I'm not going to give you all of them at once, but we'll start with one of them, and that was Dawn Shard by Brandon Sanderson. This is Stormlight archive novella, basically Stormlight book 3.5, I think. It's set between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I don't know anything about it because I haven't read it. So then I also, while I was down there, I got Irish Fairy and Folk Tales by W.B. Yeats. I got this, I love fairy tales and I love folk tales, and so I saw it and I decided I wanted to get it.
Yeet!
There were other editions that were there that one of the editions was actually a nicer edition, and I wanted to get that one, but it weighed more, even though it had all the same stories and it was about the same size. So because I had to ship it back in my suitcase, I had to make sure weight was down, which would have been fine anyways, but that's why I got this edition rather than the other one, which it really doesn't bother me which edition I have at this point. Anyways, this is a collection of fairy tales, and I haven't read any of them yet, but I want to. Actually, that might not be true. I might have read some of the poems.
My turn?
Go, Tony.
Okay, so I better put my tea down here. I got Fail State Legends by John Oddie. I read Fail State and I really liked it. These books are only in print only available in print at certain times. You can get them, I think you can get them on ebook. I assume it's through Kindle, Amazon. But when they are in print, I want to collect them. So I got this for my birthday and I'm really excited to read it. I see that there's some zombies in it, which is kind of interesting. But it's a contemporary superhero story, so I'm excited.
We will go with these two real quick. So this is the last of the ones that I got while I was in Oregon at Powell's Books, or Powell's City of Books, or whatever that's called. It's a massive bookstore with too many people in it. But I got book 2 and book 4 of the Lady Trent memoirs. I was hoping that they'd have all 5 of the books there so I could get all 5 of them. I already have the first one in A Natural History of Dragons, but I saw 2 and I saw 4 there. Those were the only ones there besides 1. And so I got them, and I'm very happy to have them because I really enjoy the series and they're super fun, and book covers have dragons on them, which is great, and they're also pretty. So.
Okay, so because I have to surprise Tony. This is the other book I got. It's a Louis L'Amour short story collection, volume 1.
Wow.
And I got it because I've been trying to read The Walking Drum and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I was like, maybe it's in one of these short story collections, and lo and behold it is. So I got this. I also didn't tell you because it was the day I went shopping for your birthday books, and I didn't want you to know I'd been to Barnes & Noble. So that was my little stealthy purchase, and I haven't read The Walking Drum yet. I haven't got to it, but I'm excited about it.
So we will also throw in this one real quick. This is Voyage of the Basilisk. This is book 3 of the Marie Brennan, or the memoirs, Lady Trent memoirs. It's lots of words to say when you're talking about this series. I got this one for my birthday. Kate got it for me for my birthday, and now I've got books 1 through 4, and I need book 5.
Also,
that's all I can say about it.
I would like, in my defense, to say that I specifically requested the paperback because I knew he had a paperback in all of his other editions. And the pages aren't this awful thing. I don't know, do you like that?
I don't mind it.
Whatever
I
it's
haven't
called.
read it enough. Deckled Edges.
Deckled Edges. The book I'm reading right now has it, and I just like it. But I tried to get the right edition, guys, and they sent me the wrong one.
So it's Amazon's fault.
Amazon's fault. The next book I got is Geekerella by Ashley Paulson, which you guys already heard me talk about in this video, but I did get this for my birthday.
I also got, let's do this one first. Wheel of Time, book 4, The Shadow Rising, for my birthday. This is, I'm on reading book 3 right now. I don't have book 4. She accidentally bought book 3 first because she didn't realize that I already had it.
I have excuses for that too.
So then she took it back and got me book 4, which is good because I need book 4 because I don't have book 4. I can't say anything about this because I haven't read it yet.
I did a poor job on the editions this round of gifts.
Eh.
So, the last book I got is Maxine Justice Galactic Attorney by Daniel Schwabauer. I'm really excited to read this. I loved Operation Grindel, which was the book of his that came out last spring. So I'm really excited to get into this. I'm kind of saving it for last, so my goal with this year was to read all the books I haven't in my bookshelf, and there's a couple exceptions I've allowed myself. And I'm getting really close to completing that, so I'm kind of saving this one as the candy at the end. And I also, yeah, that's my plan, but I'm really excited about it. I've heard great things.
And then the last one I got is also a science fiction, and that is Star Wars Thrawn Alliances. I don't know, it's not really science fiction. I consider it science fantasy, but people will argue with me on that. Anyways, this is Thrawn Alliances, which I believe is the second book in the Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn. It's not the Heir to the Empire trilogy, which was his original ones that Thrawn was in. It's the ones that he started writing with and after Disney hired him to write more, basically. It's weird, it's convoluted.
So it's a Disney book?
Yeah. But I'm excited. I have the first Thrawn book. I haven't read it yet. I really want to. It was supposed to be read in this first quarter, but I didn't get it done. So anyways, Thrawn Alliance is the last book that I have for this book haul.
And same for me, that was all of our book haul for this year. This is getting to be a long video, we should wrap it up.
Yes, we should.
Thank you all for watching an Erudite adventure. We hope you enjoyed hearing our wrap up. Let us know if you've read any of these books and what your month looked like for reading.
We post videos every Monday and Thursday. We have our social medias linked in the description down below. Make sure you go check out that video where we talk about our giveaway so that you can enter to win those books if you want to.
And check out the YouTube channels for the smaller published books that Tony mentioned.
They will be linked in the description down below.
Thanks for watching.
Stay warm.
warm.